Child sexual abuse during the COVID-19 can be even more challenging. Many parents know it's important to talk with their children about sexual abuse, but aren't sure what to say or when to say it. Well, here today is Dr. Tia Kim to help us. Dr. Kim is VP of Education and Research and Impact at Committee for Children. And she's going to introduce us to the Hot Chocolate Talk campaign and explain how to use everyday moments to talk with your children about safety. Good morning, Dr. Kim. How are you?
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me and highlighting such an important topic.
Well, thank you for joining us today. It is that time of year. It is actually that month. So, again, how has COVID-19 pandemic, how has it affected child sexual abuse prevention?
So, we don't know for sure whether or not the pandemic has increased or decreased rates of child sexual abuse. But what we do know is that 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 20 boys will be sexually abused before the age of 18. And oftentimes these cases get underreported, so the prevalence rates might be even higher. So, it really highlights the importance of prevention. And one of the best research based ways to prevent child sexual abuse is for parents and caregivers to start to have conversations around personal safety with their kids. And that's really why we started the Hot Chocolate Talk campaign, is to bring awareness to this subject.
So, what advice do you have for parents and caregivers for preventing child sexual abuse online and in person?
So I think it's really important for parents and caregivers to start to have these personal safety conversations. And I really think of it within sharing safety rules. So teaching your kids, I like to think of it as the 3 R's. So teaching them how to recognize safe versus unsafe touches, how to refuse unwanted touches, and how to report the behavior if it's something that's happening to them. Another way that's really great for parents and caregivers to start to have these conversations and normalize it, because it can be really scary and uncomfortable, is to think about how they might interweave it throughout their regular family routines. So when my kids were really young, for instance, we talked about it at bed during shower time. As they got a little bit older, we talked about it during bedtime when I was tucking them in. And now my older one is a teenager, and we might talk about it in the car so we don't have to be face to face.
Now, what advice do you have for parents and caregivers if a child does disclose abuse?
Yeah, that can be a really stressful situation, but it's really important for adults to remain calm if a child has disclosed to them and be a really good active listener. But I think the most important thing for them to keep in mind is that you really do have to believe the child. Rarely do children lie about being sexually abused. So, really, a simple statement such as, I hear you and I believe you, can be really powerful and really supportive for a child who has just disclosed to you.
So, last question is what's the difference between a conversation about child sexual abuse prevention and having the talk about sex?
I think child sexual abuse prevention conversations is really around personal safety and safety rules and understanding, again, the child and recognizing what is safe and versus unsafe and reporting the behavior if that's happening to you. That's the real distinction for me between that and having the talk.
What's interesting for me is when I was a child, the talk was given to me by my mom, not my dad. When I went to ask to talk to my dad about that talk, go talk to your mom. So, do you think men have opened up more? Is it still either dad or mom or both? How do you think that's going today?
I'm not sure on the actual statistics around that, but I think it's important for all parents and caregivers to have these conversations with your child. It's never the wrong time to deal with prevention. And that includes all adults that are really important to a child's life to be able to open lines of communication and show that there's a supporting and warm context that they can come talk to their parents about anything such as child sexual abuse.
Yeah, I can imagine. Dr. Kim, thank you so much for joining us on Morning Blend. And if you could give us the web address for the Committee for Children.
Sure, you can check out all our resources at hotchocolatetalk.com. They're free, downloadable conversation starters on how to guides to start to have this really important conversation with your kids.
Thank you again, Dr. Kim, for joining us on Morning Blend.
Thank you so much for having me and highlighting such an important topic.
Thank you.